Fit Talk TV with Sherman Rozier.
Because I'm smooth.
Talking about exercise, fitness, and great nutrition.
Gotta work it out. Because I'm smooth. So smooth. Yeah. Gotta work it out. Gotta work it out. Fit Talk TV.
All right, I'm sitting here today with Emily Fletcher in New York. Emily is the owner of Ziva.
That's right.
Meditation, and today we're just going to talk about meditation, how she got started into what she's doing, and trying to explain to the world how it can be to fit, everyone. So, Emily.
That's me.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
So, tell me first about your business itself, how you got started in meditation. What were the things that moved you to go towards this direction for health and wellness for yourself?
Yeah, it was sort of an unlikely journey of Broadway showgirl to meditation teacher, because I was on Broadway for 10 years and never even, I knew the word meditation, but for me it just seemed like something that weird people did that smelled like patchouli and lived in caves. And I was like, no thanks, not for me. But then my last Broadway show was a chorus line, and I was understudying 3 of the lead roles, which basically means that you could go on for any of those roles at a moment's notice. And sometimes I would start as one character, and then halfway through the show they would switch me to a different character, and it was finding it really stressful, and I started having a lot of anxiety and insomnia, and I started going gray at 26, and I'm not kidding when I say for 18 months I couldn't sleep through the night, which anyone who's ever had insomnia knows that that's a rare form of torture, at least it feels like.
Exactly.
And so finally things got so bad, and this is not a sob story, like I recognize there's stories way worse than this, but for me, I didn't feel like myself. I felt embarrassed about my performance, and that had never been my experience before. So thankfully, this amazing woman was sitting next to me in my Broadway dressing room, and she had a harder job than I did, but she was nailing it. Like, every dance she did was a celebration. Every song she sang was a celebration. Every bite of food, she'd be like, oh, this is sensational. She was Australian. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm going to need to have some of what she's having.
Yeah.
And long story short, I learned meditation, and the first day of the first class, I slept through the night for the first time in 18 months, and I have every night since, and that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. But then I stopped getting sick. I stopped getting injured. I stopped going gray. I started enjoying my job again, and I was like, wait a minute, why does everybody not do this?
Right.
Because it really transformed my life so dramatically, up-leveled my performance, and just my day-to-day experience, that I felt inspired and really compelled to share it with others. So I left Broadway in 2009. I went to India, lived in a cave with more some patchouli. No, there was no patchouli involved. But I did go to India, and I started what became a 3-year training process to teach this. People think that meditation is just sitting in a chair, and it's not. It's actually, there's a lot more to it than that. Or I'm a real ding-dong head. If it took me 3 years to teach people how to sit in a chair. But basically, I finished my training in Los Angeles and then moved to New York and opened up Ziva. So I have a center in New York City. I split my time between New York and LA teaching live courses, but I just created the very first online meditation training, which I'm really proud of. It's called Ziva Mind.
I have to check that out.
Yeah. I love it. It's so this is the first time that people are now able to learn meditation no matter where they are in the world. Even if you don't have access to a face-to-face teacher, which I know a lot of people in Tallahassee don't,
Right.
a lot of people all over the world don't. So I didn't want that to be the thing keeping people from their bliss and fulfillment.
Right.
I want people to have access to these tools no matter where they are. So that's now available at zivamind.com.
That's awesome. So tell me about the whole meditation. When you think about meditation, some people think about spiritual aspect of it. Is it just more than just that? And can you give me a little more information on your experience?
Yeah, sure. There can be a spiritual component to meditation. There can also be a spiritual component to exercise or accounting. You can make really anything a spiritual practice.
True.
That's just really, in my opinion, how connected you are to your higher power, or whatever you want to call it. But for me personally, I came to meditation because I wanted to be better at my job.
Right.
And this is really how I have branded Ziva, is that my mission statement is to rebrand meditation as a productivity tool. Because that's what it's been for me. It made me better at my job. It made my brain faster. It made me get sick less. It made me just enjoy life more. And so this is sometimes a little confusing because we think that meditation is a waste of time. Like, I'm busy.
Right.
I got kids. I got a job. I got stuff to do. I'm not going to sit in a chair and waste my time for 10, 15 minutes a day, which is, I think, what we in the West are so conditioned to think about as meditation. But we have to reframe this. We have to reframe it quickly, because what we're doing to ourselves, running around being busy and freaked out and stressed all the time, is not sustainable, and it's not good for us. Because when we get stressed, the body launches into an involuntary fight or flight stress reaction. And I'm sure you know the body gets acidic. First thing that happens is that your body floods with hydrochloric acid, which shuts down digestion. Then that acid seeps into your skin so that you don't taste good. And P.S., this fight or flight stress reaction used to be really useful. It used to be very adaptive when we were hunting and gathering, like saber-toothed tigers were attacking us. But now our demands are BlackBerries. Does anyone have a BlackBerry anymore? I don't think so. It's like iPhones, Androids, text messages. I don't know, like laser beaming people, probably. But now our demands are no longer predatory attacks. And so this fight or flight stress reaction isn't serving us. But I do think it's fascinating to look at the origins of it and what stress is actually doing to our body. And this is actually the thing that made the most sense to me when I first started learning meditation, was that when I would get nervous before these shows, or when I was even having insomnia, it didn't mean that I was a failure. It actually, that was my body's way of trying to protect me. So let's say you're like hunting and gathering in the woods and the saber-toothed tiger jumps out at you. You know, like I said, first thing that happens is that your digestive system floods with hydrochloric acid. And then that acid seeps onto your skin so you don't taste very good if that tiger were to bite you.
Right.
And then your blood starts to thicken and coagulate so you don't bleed to death if you get bitten.
Exactly.
Bladder and bowels evacuate so that you are light on your feet to fight or flee, which, you know, the nervous poos we all get for like a job interview. That's your body trying to protect you. Exactly. Those darn saber-toothed tigers. What else happens? Your blood pressure increases, cortisol levels increase, and your immune system goes to the back burner. Because who cares if you're going to get cancer if you're about to be killed by a tiger? Like, you need all hands on deck to fight or flee this predatory attack. And so this series of chemical reactions is very useful. It's very good for you if your demands are predatory attacks. That's not the story anymore. Now it's like in-laws and kids and bosses and traffic.
Yeah, it's a day-to-day thing.
That like grind. And now this fight or flight stress reaction is now disallowing us from performing at the top of our game. Our brains and our bodies are spending so much valuable energy trying to prepare for this imaginary attack that we have very little computing power left for the present moment. And the present moment, that's where the magic happens. That's where we get our great ideas. This is where we enjoy our life. It's all happening in the now. And none of us have very much practice with that present moment awareness because our bodies are so amped in this fight or flight stress reaction. So what meditation does is that it comes in and it actually de-excites your nervous system. In the style of meditation that I teach, you're given a mantra or a sound. Now, a mantra is a word that means mind vehicle. Man means mind and tra means vehicle. So you're given this sound, and you do this thing sitting in a chair. You can do it anywhere, on a park bench, on your couch, at your office. All you really need to do is a chair. And you close your eyes and you repeat this sound, and it has the effect of de-exciting your mind and de-exciting your body. When you de-excite something, you create order. So as you know, being a fitness instructor, you run a 7-minute mile, your metabolic rate is going to go through the roof. You're going to excite your nervous system, which is great. It's great for you. And you can burn off stress chemicals with exercise. But exercise and meditation are different in that meditation, the whole point of it is to de-excite your nervous system, giving your body rest that is 5 times deeper than sleep. This is not insignificant. When you give your body this deep rest, you create this order, then all the stresses that we've been accumulating can start to leave the nervous system. So the best way I have to describe this is if you imagine a pot of water on a stove, and if you were to turn up the heat and excite the molecules, it would start moving really quickly and boiling. If you slow it down and freeze those water molecules and de-excite them, it creates order and it will take the shape of the pot. Or a drop of water. If we freeze it, it'll create a snowflake. Same thing with our nervous system. If we're running around, freaked out, stressed out, so busy, too much to do, our body is constantly in this fight or flight, and the stresses that we've been accumulating can't leave the building. Meditation de-excites, gives the body deep rest, and then the body can heal itself.
So basically, it comes back to focus as well. Being able to, just not work related, but anything life related, being able to focus on who you are, and going after what you want.
Mm.
If you're always in that state of fight or flight, you can never really get to that point where you want to be.
Yeah, I think it's hard to hear what your own desires are if you're constantly panicking. You know, I think it's hard to hear what our intuition is trying to communicate to us if we're constantly just running around being like, I'm late, I suck, I'm late, I suck, I'm late, I suck. It's hard to get where you want to go or enjoy your life if this monkey mind is going crazy and you're not listening to how nature's trying to use you.
So a lot of people with my business, of course,